Hey guys, what's up? It's Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 true stories that will restore your faith in humanity. So if you look at the media, it's easy to see the world in a bad light. Well, these are some stories the media won't report on, but they will make you restore your faith in humanity. So if you want to feel happy for days and be inspired by kindness, then check out these stories. And if you want to restore my faith in humanity, then subscribe and press the notification bell too. Coming in at number 10 is favorite teacher. So, a lot of kids don't like school. Some people say school doesn't let kids feel creative and doesn't let them be themselves. Now, you may agree with this, but I'm sure we all had one teacher who really did believe in us. Well, one of those people was Josh Johnson. Now, of course, we all know Josh Johnson today. He's a massive comedian on The Daily Show, The Jimmy Fallon Show, and even Heart of the City. But when he was a kid and he told his friends and family he was going to do stand-up, everyone thought he was an idiot. They said he wasn't funny enough, and most of his teachers said he wouldn't make enough money from it. However, one teacher was different. After Josh did stand-up for the first time ever at a high school talent show, his teacher said, "I'm gonna see you on The Tonight Show one day." Well, years later, Josh really was on The Tonight Show, but he didn't forget what that teacher said to him all those years ago. So he decided to fly his teacher out to see him on The Tonight Show. He knew his teacher would see him on TV anyway, but he wanted to say thanks for those amazing inspirational words all those years back. He got a massive shout out on the show and the entire audience applauded him. This just goes to show sometimes all people need is one person to believe in them. And you never know, you could be that person. Next up is love thy neighbor. So right now, there's a big divide between Mexico and the USA. A lot of people say there should be better borders, while others say they should let more people in. Well, whatever your views happen to be on that, there's no doubt this photo will bring you inspiration and happiness. So one day in Mexico there was a fire. However, there were no local fire stations, so this could have been a massive problem. However, luckily in Arizona, right by the border, there was a nearby fire truck. Now technically those firefighters didn't have to help out. They're paid by the American government to only fight fires in America. But they saw they could make a difference and maybe even save lives, so they took the chance. They sped over to the border and quickly put out the fire. And thanks to these firefighters, nobody was hurt in this incident. The world really needs more of these people who looked past the differences and simply did the right thing. And after this photo went viral, many top Mexican politicians thanked these firefighters for their service. Coming up next, we have adoption. So when you're a kid, the most important thing in the world is your parents. When you're young, they literally do everything for you. And if you ever have a problem, you always know there's someone you can talk to. Well, some kids don't have that, as they don't have any parents. Millions of kids in America alone have to live in adoption centers as they don't have any parents. Now this is very sad, but for one kid, she got the best news ever. One Monday afternoon, her adoption officer walked over to her and told her something amazing. She said, "You've finally been adopted after 8 years. And as soon as she said that, the kid jumped into her arms and she was so happy. It may seem like such a normal and basic thing to have parents, but this girl was so ecstatic to finally have some. Her amazing reaction was caught by a security camera and it went viral. This really goes to show what a nice thing it is when people adopt a kid. And thanks to this video going viral, maybe it inspired other people to adopt children. Next up is breakfast with dads. One day a middle school in Dallas, Texas started a breakfast with dads program. This is a way for students and dads to bond together over breakfast. However, there was one problem. Many of the students didn't have father figures. Of course, the school didn't want them to be left out, but they didn't want to cancel the event either. So they posted on Facebook requesting for 50 volunteer dads. Now this may sound like a big ask. However, something extraordinary happened on the day of the breakfast. Over 600 dads from all backgrounds showed up. People heard about this through Facebook and so many people were inspired. A lot of the fathers who showed up didn't have father figures themselves when they were kids. So they wanted to make sure the local youth didn't miss out on childhood things like this. It was an amazing sight when these extra 600 dads showed up, and the school said they were stunned and amazed. One thing's for sure, for the kids who didn't have father figures, I bet their faith in humanity was restored. And it's all because of regular people turning up and doing something great. Next up is bookworm. A lot of elderly people don't have many hobbies when they're older. They sometimes don't have the friends and family they used to and can get kind of lonely. However, lots of them have little rituals and events they always do, like going to the park or the mall. Well, one old lady goes to a supermarket every day to read all the books. She would go and stand for hours on end reading the books. Now, you may think a supermarket manager may get kind of angry at this as she never actually bought the books. But no, instead, this supermarket manager restored her faith in humanity. He thought it was nice and sweet that she came to read books every day. So instead of kicking her out or making her buy the books, he put a bench down for her. He put it right in the space where she used to stand, so now she's able to sit every day and read the books. This is a very kind thing to do, and shoppers say she uses the seat every day. And since this image went viral, the supermarket manager has restored more than just this elderly woman's faith in humanity. Next up is bird love. When you're in a relationship, there's a lot of ways to say I love you. It could be a wedding or a big grandiose gesture like going to Paris for a weekend, but sometimes it can be the little things that people really appreciate. One day a girl posted a photo on Twitter saying this: "Every morning my father places bird food in the yard for my mother to wake up to this view. As you can see, the father puts bird food in a heart shape. This way when his wife wakes up and looks out of the window, she'll see a heart made of sparrows." Now not only is this really genius and creative, it's also really sweet too. It may be a small act of kindness, but it gets his wife in a great mood every morning. It may not be a diamond ring or flowers, but sometimes just bird seeds can make people feel so happy. Next up is Animal Hero. So, we all know one of the biggest problems in Kenya is water. A lot of people have a lack of water, and everyone knows about this thanks to the media. However, what many people don't know is that a lot of animals don't have any water either. This leads to thousands of animals passing away every year thanks to simply not having any water. Now, of course, that sounds awful. However, one man in Kenya decided to put a stop to this. So every day this man drives hours in the drought to provide water to thirsty animals in Kenya. He has no obligation to do this, but simply wants to out of the goodness of his own heart. We've seen people's faiths in humanity be restored, but I think these animals' faiths in humanity have just been restored. Remember, the guy doesn't have to do this and isn't getting paid or anything, but he takes out 8 hours of his day every day to do this. And his sacrifice is a massive deal, as he's literally saved the lives of thousands of animals. If there was ever a superhero for animals, I think it would have to be this guy. Next up is Hold On. So when you step out of your house in the morning, the last thing you expect is to be saving somebody's life. But for a few strangers, that's exactly what happened. A couple of people were walking on a bridge in North London, UK, when suddenly a man jumped over the railings. Now, he didn't jump off the bridge immediately, but he went over the other side. He was very upset for some reason and threatened to jump off. However, a group of strangers, scratch that, heroes, told him to hold on. They made him hold on, and some even grabbed his legs and arms. They then waited and talked to him for 2 hours. When emergency services got there, they were able to rescue this man and take him away. However, they said if it weren't for this amazing group of strangers, the man could be a goner. None of the people knew each other beforehand, but this is an incident they will never forget. And it must have brought this group of strangers very close, knowing they all had a hand in saving a man's life. It's not every day you see an amazing display of humanity like this. The people must have all wanted to get home and see their families after a long day at work, but instead they saved a man's life. What would you have done if you were caught up in this insane situation? Next up is Bird Savior. So we've already seen the animal hero in Kenya who gives water to thousands of animals every single day. Of course that was in a poor country, but this photo goes to show that even in a rich country, animals still need help. One day in a Starbucks in Los Angeles, somebody saw an amazing sight. He was reading at a coffee shop when he looked behind him and saw this. There was a man on the computer looking up vet services, and in his hand was an injured sparrow he'd just found. He apparently saw the bird outside limping around, but instead of just walking by and getting on with his day, he scooped it up and helped him out. Luckily the vet services came and this sparrow's life has been saved. But just imagine if the guy never did that small act of kindness and this bird passed away. This just goes to show if you ever see an animal who doesn't seem right on the street, always do something about it and don't just ignore it. But just imagine if you saw a man with a sparrow in a Starbucks, I would be so confused. But at the same time, my faith in humanity would almost definitely be restored. Next up is Anthony Borges. So when I say hero, you may picture a soldier or a firefighter, or maybe something else, but one thing you wouldn't picture is a 15-year-old high school student. Well then meet Anthony, who's 15 and goes to a Florida high school. He was recently caught up in the terrible event in Florida where a guy came into a school and shot a bunch of kids. Now this was awful and caused 17 people to pass away. However, if it weren't for this kid, the number could have been much higher. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but this 15-year-old named Anthony used his body to hold the classroom door shut during the shooting. This protected 20 other students inside who would have been killed otherwise. However, Anthony paid the price for saving all those lives, as he was hit by 5 bullets. Now, luckily they had to go through a door so he didn't have his life taken. He was rushed to hospital where he survived. Just imagine saving more lives than your age. It's crazy to think a 15-year-old could save 20 people's lives, but Anthony amazingly did. I hope he has a speedy recovery, and I'm sure he will. Check out the poll in the top right corner to vote for the most amazing story which restored your faith in humanity. And be sure to check out my second channel. A video for that channel will be on screen in a moment, so click it to check it out. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now, leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s for daily videos.